the S&P 500, the Nasdaq one. That's what we're talking about specifically here on the day. Now, when we get to the action, we had a decent little bit of an opening, and then we started to see that sell-off start to occur and happen. Now, again, the thing that we've been talking about over the course of the week is to get confirmation for the upside, what do you have to do? Go watch yesterday's video if you need to, especially the end of it. You got to mount above 44.20 on ES, and then going into NQ, you have to mount above roughly 15.4, and then to get that push into 15.6. But, 15.4 was just to get you even started, right? And really to break out of this kind of channel that you're in. Now, when you look at some of the intraday trading where you're out via support, I think the best way to look at this is on SPY. You can zoom out to the 431.5, 431.6 level, and it's right where you closed at, right? It's your previous high from August 2022. You can see it's your low here as well in June 26th, and then it's almost your low again here in August 18th. And we had like a little bit of an SR flip down here as well when you broke down previously to 420. You broke down, retested, pushed there. So where we're ending this week, it doesn't give me a lot of direction personally. But what I will say is you're at a major level. Okay. Now, what I will say going into NQ, this was a weak close. You closed below 15.2, which is something that I wanted to see you hold. 15.2 giving you like a little bit of a visual right about there. I can go back further. I just really don't have the time and want to go back. Feel absolutely terrible. Okay. So that's where we're at. We're kind of breaking below. I think NQ finally had some weakness, right? If you follow me on Twitter, I post a lot of these charts and give you updates throughout the day. But on Twitter, one of the good things going into today was tech was resilient. I mentioned it a lot in yesterday's video. Dow names this morning too were getting love. So you saw a little bit of that rotation, and then we saw no follow through. Very big issue. Now, before we go into any more content, I ask you to do two things. Consider liking and subscribing. It helps out tons. But again, never feel like I'm begging for the subs. But if you're here every single day, it works. I appreciate it, especially if you like the video. It helps out a lot. The Discord link also down below if you are interested. Again, not a signal service. If you want to actually put in the work, understand why we're trading, why we're getting in, why we're getting out, why we're not trading, everything in between, Discord may be for you. Also, to the newsletter, the link is down below. It's also on our website. It's 100% free. You can go into our newsletter. It gives you all the key levels for the week. I mean, it really gives you a roadmap for the week. Going into the newsletter, right? You have essentially everything. Like, I don't really know how else to say it. 44.26 up here. We talked about why the level. Reaching 44.26 would make the 44.72 the next significant level, and talked about expecting a rejection possibly even at that level because it's so major. You go back, rewind, we look, where did we go to? We went right to 44.32, 44.30. So around 3-4 points off at your absolute top on the week, and then that 44.20 as well. Don't trust me. It was already on the newsletter from the previous Sunday. So just shows you that our strategy isn't ever really changing, but also gives you a little bit of insight to what we're looking at as well. Now, okay, so when we look at this day going into next week, now for me, I'm kind of taking a step back from ES and NQ. I'm watching the major levels, but as of lately, once we got that big influx move to the upside, especially on NVIDIA, AVGO, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, I could go on a long list, right? We got a lot of our bulk Meta, a lot of bulk moves we got. Amazon too, like they all went up, right? Now, what I will say here is I think now you're really trying to wait and be patient with this data that's coming in. And some of you guys might not be that interested in this, but it is what it is. DXY got below support, but ultimately it bounced in this range, back in the range of 107 in between 105.8. Okay. Going into US oil, what's happening specifically with the barrel? Like I said, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I personally can admit when I'm wrong. I can do it. When I really didn't see the breakout happening here. Now, I understand, and I said, with the Iran situation, anything can happen. Any type of involvement will greatly impact this, right? You even had, I think, out of Qatar, I don't have the link pulled up in front of me. It was earlier this morning. But projections of the barrel hitting $100 based on the Middle East conflict. And it was interesting that this came out of the Middle East, that price target was there. So I was very interested in that. I was like, that's kind of sketchy. But this goes in to show you, like, right now, take your profits, get out, do what you can, because nothing's guaranteed in this market. So again, you're in this range on oil. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think this is confirmation just yet. I'm just going to be completely honest. Everything that's happened in the Middle East points to the viewpoint of America doesn't want anything to do with it. They're trying to stay as far out of it as possible. They're trying to just give weapons and just let them do what they want. They're like, kids outside of a playground just watching them play. That's what's happening. And except America is really liking this. So again, don't get mad at the messenger. That's just where we're at. You go down yields. Again, interesting behavior across the board. You're going to notice there's some weird stuff happening. So we have DXY bouncing today. Now, it's important to realize that bond auction yesterday, which caused DXY to pump, and we all covered that, right? But today, DXY is going up, and bonds are going down. They're all going down. 2 years, probably the best looking one. So very interesting action there. I don't want to jump on anything there. That's why I'm saying with this data, you got to take a little bit of a step back. Now, the one area that there's like a statement of possible risk off is what's happening with gold. Okay, gold is having a move, right? I don't like gold, not a fan of it, but over the past 6 days, you've gone up from 1820 up to 1930. Pretty big, monstrous move. I'm gonna tell you right now. One of your best moves that you've had in a while. You would have to go all the way back to, you'd have to go back into essentially when Ukraine was invaded by Russia to when you got the same type of move back into 2060, right? You had a little bit of a move back here in November, but that's when, you had the dollar, pulling back majorly, kind of flying atop. So it's a little bit hard to go back here, but, that's the same type of action you're getting as, what's happening with the Middle East, what's happening here, and, what happened in Ukraine. So interesting, we need to see if this continues on. It's important to not jump the gun with conclusions as well, as far as being optimistically bullish, right? That's why I continue to say, to be confirmed bullish, you got to mount X and Y levels. It just has to happen. Okay, that's where we're at. Now, a few trades that we're looking at. So in Discord, Jay, I ended up leaving the day kind of early today. I'm dog sick right now. It's terrible. So what were we looking for here? Now on NVIDIA, you wanted to see a 464 mount. That was your wet dream, right? You wanted to see 464, get the mount. Didn't happen. Just didn't. You had one candle, and then today, boom, shot down. Now, Jay is holding some shorts over the weekend on NVIDIA. Still pretty green, but again, you're still in this 450 region. I mean, I think the line in the sand's really at 440. So if you get back below 440, it's pretty gross. But you're going to notice a lot of these things are on major supports as well. Microsoft 328 gets below that, could get ugly, right? It's like across the board. Everything's on major levels. Apple did get below 180, so that's pretty weak. Amazon as well, getting back below 130, pretty weak, and the 100 SMA as well. I don't even have to pull it up. I just know it's there. So across the board, you're seeing names getting weaker and weaker. I mean, look at the pullback hit on Meta. So, right, all that strength in what I was saying. And again, you have to be able to understand your thesis and the way the market's moving. So if I'm looking at the market and I'm relying on tech to be the strongest area and have all the resilience, but tech starts showing weakness, then I need to twist or come to the realization that maybe my thesis could be wrong, right? Or maybe I need to take a step back. Now, granted, what got me the money in the past week and a half? Yeah, it's been tech, but I need to be able to understand that. Maybe it's reached the top. Maybe we're in a pretty uncharted territory. And that's what I try to always tell you guys when you come to the channel. I'm not worried. When you come to the channel, I post a video every day, right? So when I'm posting a video, I'm trying to, you guys are going to hopefully show up tomorrow. So I'm here to try to talk about what's happening in the long-term scheme of things, but I'm not trying to predict a week down the line. I'm trying to go over what's going to happen tomorrow, give you the best roadmap for tomorrow, and give you education for tomorrow. And hopefully understand what's going into some of my trades, what am I looking at from the chart point of view, and everything in between there. But it's never from the visual of, okay, I got to predict what's going to happen with the market. I got to understand if Israel is going to blow up Iran. I got to understand if Iran's going to get backed by China. That's ridiculous. I can never predict those things. And that would kind of make me a little bit crazy if I was trying to do that. So understand the visuals and the point of this channel, right? There's, me trying to predict the weather. Then there's me trying to just talk about what the weather is currently doing and kind of warn you for the next day's weather report. You see the difference? The further out I go, the more likely that I'm going to be wrong. But there's giant warning signs that are there. So today, the big warning sign for downside, in my opinion, oil. But, okay, I'm going to leave you with a few things, though, before I let you out of here. We had some Fed members talking today as well. Okay, and again, sorry, I don't have all the notes in front of me. It's terrible, uncluttered day. So sorry. I'll probably have them on Twitter later tonight. I'm feeling a little bit better, but I'm still feeling pretty terrible. You had Fed members come out. They talked about the CPI report, and basically they were trying to get baited into questions about, was CPI terrible? And I mean, CPI wasn't good. The beneficial thing about CPI was oil and energy weren't the problem. It was more so shelter. If you look at what the Fed said, they're like, hey, it's kind of fine. We look more at core inflation. Now, again, I'm not on the side that that's end-all, be-all great. And I'm still on the side of if oil continues to rise, it cannot continue its descent or hold below 90, you're in trouble. I promise you're going to get bad readings. It's eventually going to happen, especially into the end of the year. Not good, not what you want to see. So again, those are visuals you have to think about and things that we need to understand as well. And the Fed is, like I said, I think listening to the Fed and hearing what they're going to say is going to be the most impactful thing here on the market. Now, giving you something and just showing you again, something that I went over today in Discord this morning. So every morning I like to give a little bit of a rundown if there's something important. Now again, it's here at the bottom, but right over here, so what I can say. The only thing I would be looking forward to now, and this is at 8:27, is Fed member speaking, and we need to get the perspective on PPI, CPI, what they're talking about there. And then you have to understand if oil starts to bounce here, that's going to be a problem, right? So again, that's everything that we're looking for, right? So understand, again, you have to have an understanding of what's going to hurt the market, what's going to benefit the market. And if you're just looking at it from a viewpoint of, triangles and bouncing up and coming down on the, futures, then I think you're going to be hurting yourself. So again, right now, it's a very back and forth side of things. I don't think that you're guaranteed to drop down right now. I really don't. 100% I do not believe that. But it's important to realize what's happening here in the market, that crazy things could happen. I'm not going to lie. Not a fan of what's going on in the Middle East, honestly. It creates a lot of uncertainty. We even saw this when Trump was president, when they started doing some stuff. We saw instantaneous reactions here on the market. Rewind back to 2019, I believe, 2020. I don't even know. But that's when we started to have all those issues. So again, be careful, be patient, don't jump the gun. I'll have more updates for you. Twitter primarily this weekend. Have a good one, traders.